Rothman, and welcome to the show. Last week, if you happen to miss our episode, here's a quick clip from it.
Is
Enjoy.
we don't always get the window into what's happening, right? And sometimes we get that window later. And for me, it was like a 6-year wait. But be patient. We don't always know what's happening, and things beautifully connect. And these gifts that you may be getting right now through hard times might become your mission, your passion, maybe even your purpose.
My name is Jay Rothman. I am the host of the show. Welcome to Real Men, Real Talk, Live. Welcome back, viewers and listeners. Excited to introduce my co-host this evening. We have Jay Riddick coming in from Southern California. Welcome back, Josh Richer.
Great to be here with you guys. Much love.
We have Jeff Fasano coming in from Nashville, Tennessee, just a couple of days away from his release of his book. Welcome back, Jeff Fasano.
Yeah. 2 more days. Thanks, Jay.
And of course, we have the man of the land from down under. He calls himself the Aboriginal, Everslove Heath. Welcome back from Australia.
As always, my brothers and sisters, thank you.
So as we kick the show off tonight, we're diving into episode number 148. Tonight's topic is all about, are you faking it till you make it? And what does that really mean in your life? What has it meant in our life? It's a topic that we did somewhere around 119th episode. We decided to bring it back because it came up in a session with me and a client just a couple of 24 hours ago. And I just thought it was perhaps a topic that we all have at one time in our life. Maybe we have stepped into, are we faking it till we make it? And so I want to invite Josh, since you're sitting on the top shelf with me this evening, to kick us off, light us up, get us hot, and tell us what is fake it till you make it. I mean, what has it meant for you in your life, whether it be in your business and your career, or even in your personal relationships with others, including yourself.
Oh, it's funny because in our production meeting, when you brought this up, Jay, there was a bit of a debate between all of us, whether it was fake it till you make it is a good thing or a bad thing. And I think I'll speak to both because I've done both. I have been in the position in the past where I've not felt like I was enough or not felt like I was worthy of whatever business thing I was in the middle of. And I was faking it. And I was truly faking it. And hoping that I wouldn't be discovered or found out and terrified to, sort of justify my position. And I think that was in the negative sense, where it wasn't genuine, it wasn't truthful, and I was just truly faking. But I've also recently been in another scenario that we could probably put in the same category, where I'm in the middle of learning a lesson, and I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware of what I'm working through. And I'm put in a scenario where that's sort of being tested. And it's happened in my relationship recently. And so I was uncomfortable in this new skin that I was growing into, this new level, this new, however we want to call it, height of growth, anything. But I was uncomfortable in that space because it's new, it's different. I haven't been there before. I haven't been there yet. And so I kind of had to work through that discomfort. And I wasn't faking it. even though it was new to me. I was just getting used to it as I kind of wore that new jacket or that new skin until I got comfortable with it. And I had to keep reminding myself in this period of time, this was probably about a month ago, that I was like, this discomfort's okay. And it's not because you aren't worthy or you aren't, up to the challenge, or this isn't actually now the new me. It was just discomfort because it was new. And so I'll start with that, and then we could see how we all feel about whether faking it is good or bad and what that means to you guys.
I still don't get it.
What don't you get, Jeff?
I don't get faking things, and I don't get making it. I've heard that. I get the essence of it. I probably know what people mean by it, but we're only where we are in our process. And to be in that place, whether we're uncomfortable with it or comfortable with it, just be where we are, be honest about it. This is where I'm at. What am I faking? And what is making it? It's kind of like saying, you know what? I'll do this when I get there. And where is there? I've heard that for the first time when I lived in Los Angeles, and it didn't resonate for me then, and it still doesn't resonate for me. To me, it's about, just where are you? Ask yourself, where am I? What am I feeling? I'm at this place in my process. Right now, I'm where I am in my process, and this is where I'm at, and I'll be honest about that. I'm not quite sure. Ev, maybe you can enlighten me about what faking it until you make it means, because I never could wrap my little brain around that when I first heard it when I lived in Los Angeles. And maybe it's just a Los Angeles thing.
Which I hear is not such a bad thing, my brother. If it's if you can't really understand what it really means to you, particularly coming from that LA scene, from what I've heard.
That's why I left Los Angeles. A lot of faking it till you're making it.
It's no pretty offense, prominent out here.
Yeah, no offense to people in Los Angeles who are watching the show.
No judgment.
They understand.
Brothers.
Yeah, no judgment here.
But it's funny you talk about that place. I mean, it's the city of, what do they say? The city of angels, or is it the stars?
City of Angels.
City of Angels. City of Angels. We think of this term, faking it till you make it. But I work with this process with some clients, man. But I like to look at the term with its cousin, with acting as if, till you make it. So why I use this process and this practice for some clients is because all they've known is self-doubt. All they've known is low self-esteem. All they've known is that part of themselves that may not have had the confidence to act a particular part within their life that they do want to actually intend to see. So for me, I think we've just got to really understand what we're living in from number one. If we are living in an energetic universe, a lot of physicists are even saying now we're living in some sort of bloody simulation, man. If we're living in some sort of made up, illusionary sort of energetic universe, then what is real? What is fake? You see, to me, this is all going into the side of manifestation. It's also going into the side of what we know as law of attraction. So when you're trying to understand whether you're acting out a part or faking it, you've got to just really understand, Ruv, who you are. So the big thing for me when I actually get people to act a different way, it's because if you want to change that person who you currently are, and all you've known is that part that, really hasn't put you in the particular place where you want to be, then yes, you have to change three things. That's your thoughts, your feelings, and what's the third thing? How you act. Now, just think about our daily life. We wake up, We maybe do our morning rituals. Hopefully many of us get into some of those nicer rituals. But then after, we've done some of those things, if we meditate, if we've done our visualization techniques, if we've done our daily gratitude, we just start logging in. We identify with a name. We identify, we go to work, or some of us, if we've got families, you identify with a name of mum or dad. You then go to work and you identify as an occupation as a blah, blah, blah. And then you go out through your day, you come back home and you what? You keep acting that part. We have laws here in Australia. I'm not sure what term you call them over there on the other side of the pond. But in legislation, they have acts in legal terms. So my brothers and sisters, what I'm trying to say, everything is an act. The key is really understanding the difference between the act and whether you're faking it. And to me, it's as simply as whether you are not or whether you have forgotten who you truly are.
Boom. There you go. I think we're done. That last line is that's the essence of what
All right.
we're all agreeing on.
50 minutes early. Let's go get some dinner. That was great, Ev.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that was a great lead-in, because as I was listening to each one of you share, I was kind of reflecting back on my own journey. And I think when we're living in that faking it till you make it or act as is I think that's a space when we're coming from our egoic mind, when we're living in our thoughts. And until we are able to connect at the deeper, profound level within ourselves and just show up as our authentic self without fear of judgment from others, of how we will be perceived, we're just living in our truth of who we are. That is, to me, the gateway to the true essence of living the most authentic life that you can as this being having this human experience. But until that moment, we're overcompensating. We're on some level, if we haven't done any of the healing work or the inner deep work to heal the wounds from our younger years, where we may have received or heard very, very painful words spoken to us as our younger selves. And we're still holding on to that as though that's our truth. So the part of us that's feeling like we're not worthy of, or we're not smart enough, or we're not intelligent enough, that's typically, I believe, it's our inner child. It's our younger self, one more time. That's feeling scared or feeling lack of confidence. That if you only knew the truth, I'd be found out. Because if the truth is that I'm feeling less than, and I'm not worthy of this experience or this position or this even relationship, then we're going to continue to fake it, and we never make it. So I do believe that, to your point, Av, what you just shared is that when we are willing to really uncover and discover the true essence of who we are at the heart or soul level, and really be at peace with who we are today, we're going to continue to just kind of do our best to wear that armor, that suit of armor, whatever that looks like. And I've met many people in my lifetime that have had tremendous success in career, let's say, but they're a hot mess. Now, I'm not saying that from a judgmental perspective. I'm saying that from being a conscious observer. How are they showing up? So what can that journey look like? I mean, to your point, I think that whether we're looking at a personal relationship or even a career or a job, and you're feeling lack of confidence, or you're feeling uncertain or unsure, is it possible that you can grow into that relationship, into that role in that relationship? Josh is shaking your head yes.
There's kind of a third, and I hear what you're saying, Ev, there, because there's a sneaky little part in the middle there where we're creating our reality and we're believing the stories. And so the aware version of ourselves, I'm not, those that are asleep at the wheel and just acting to protect that, vulnerable little part of themselves aren't aware. But I would say most of the watchers on this show are aware folks. Hasn't there been a time that you believed a story about yourself and it was untrue? Maybe handed down to you from some, generations before you, grandparents, parents, anything. I believed I was stupid growing up for the first 20 years of my life. And that was a bold-faced lie. It was not true. And it took me a long time to prove that to myself, that I may be smart. But you start to think about these lies that we believe, and they hold so much power. This story that I was stupid, it changed the way things that I went after in life, people that I tried to date. My whole future was clamped down because I believed I was stupid and I couldn't have the things that I wanted in this world, and that I had to just settle for the things that I was given. Now, that's a powerful story. And we can start to, once we realize that this is all just made up in our head, and granted, we were handed this story, or the story came from somewhere, but it was we carried it. And we continued to give it life, right? We kept believing in it without questioning it, and so I hear you, Ev. We have the ability to change the story, to change that thinking that you're talking about, which then starts to wire new neurons. And so we can manipulate the game, right? If it's just made up anyway in this gray matter of our brain, why not make up some good stuff and go after what you want? And you might just prove to yourself that you can do it, and that old story is a lie, and that you're capable of more. You are worthy. You are lovable. So that could be a genuine process. And that can be a very self-loving. We can still honor those old stories, but move forward anyway.
Yeah.
Make it up. Go after what you want, because I was wrong so many times. And believing those stories did nothing good for me. Nothing good for me in life.
Yeah. You know what just came forward in this moment, Josh, is how many times are we living in a story that we're holding on to? And the truth is, it's not even our story. I work with so many clients that when we have that moment, that epiphany that comes through for them, when I share with them that so much of what we're carrying within ourselves isn't even ours. It feels like it's ours. It feels like we own it because it's been sitting on a shelf within. But the truth is that it's been handed down from our ancestors. It's not even ours. We're just carrying it along as though, this is who I am. And once we have that moment of clarity, Josh, and we can accept that, wow, this wasn't even mine. This was my father's story, or this was my mother's story. And then we think it's theirs, and the truth is it wasn't even theirs. It can go back, if we trace the lineage, it can go back 100 years or more to our ancestors.
Especially if there's trauma.
Right. So the question is then how do we cut the cords to that? How do we free ourselves up? Jeff Asano, how do you free yourself from your ancestors, BS? That's not even true. It's not even who you are.
You got to immerse yourself in the inner process. Just go. It's all within us. It's a process. That's why I said at the beginning, being in the process of life, you shed those layers one layer at a time.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Jeff. I'm going to challenge you right now, right here, right now, because I love you. And this is the true essence of love. Is like you have stepped into probably one of the most profound pinnacle moments of your life, of this lifetime. I don't even know if it's something that you ever dreamed of, to be a respected publisher of a very, very significant piece of history called the book, Americana Portrait Sessions, I believe it's called. At any point during that process leading up to this moment, 6:22 SoCal time in 2023, at any moment, have you got into feeling like you're faking it till you make it? Do you feel like you're not either worthy of this moment, or do you feel any type of inner dialogue that's static, that's coming from your ancestors, that's not yours, around your relationship?
Show me an artist who doesn't.
There you go, brother.
Yep.
That's why we're artists, man. I mean, we live from the seat of our heart. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. Last night I went to a wonderful show with Yorma Calkin and Jack Cassidy. If anybody out there is old enough to remember the band Hot Tuna, those two guys were the original bass player and guitar player in Jefferson Airplane. So Yorma and I actually traded books last night. Yorma's, you know, amazing guitar player. So I'm looking through the book and I see this incredible image of Janis Joplin. Now they were best friends. But I asked Jack, I said, Jack, what was Janis like? And he said, she was wonderful. She was fantastic. But you can tell she had that inner turmoil that all us artists have. And we both laughed. Artists live with that inner, because we create from the seat of our heart. We're creating, and when we create and we put our art out into the world, we're putting us out into the world. We're bearing who we are out into the world. There's always self-doubt. There's always, will people like this? It's always there. Every artist I know has got that going on, that doubt that does it. What propels us, it's our passion. So it's what we're doing, and this is what Jack said to me. The reason why Janis was a great artist and could sing the way she did from the seat of her heart was because of all the angst she was living with and her conditioning and her life. So yeah, man, I look at my book now and it's just beginning, the official release date. And I'm, hey, it's not about if people are going to like it. It's about, oh my God, I'm putting something out into the world in a bigger way. Wow. There's a huge part of me out there. Hey, you're sitting behind a desk and you're crunching numbers in a cubicle. I don't think you're really putting your heart out there. That's what I used to do. So yeah, the answer to your question is, Jay, it's always there. The angst is always there in every artist. Even Bruce Springsteen, as successful as he is, the angst is there. It lives and breathes inside of every artist that I know.
Jeff, that was the most beautiful explanation of creative expression I've ever heard in my life. And that touched me now just hugely. And you're absolutely right, Jeff. Like, scary as hell putting it out there because it's you. And I know that space.
Yeah.
Very well. If people don't like what you do, it feels like they don't like you. They don't love you. They're rejecting you. Jeff, that was amazing, my friend. Thank you.
I mean, I've been going through it. It's built up in me last week. The angst, the anxiety that turns into an obsession, that turns into some sort of crazy form of trying to control all of that, because that's going on in my life right now. But when you look at our art, you will see that come through in the art. It's a catch-22 situation. We want to heal our angst. We want to heal that wounding, But then again, it's that angst and that wounding that propels our art. So there's got to be some way of tempering it and not controlling it, but being with it, being with it, because I'm telling you, I go through it, and if I am not picking up my camera if I go a week without picking up my camera, I start to freak out, man, because that's what I do. It's not who I am. I can feel the energy build up and build up and build up inside of me that turns into anxiety, that turns into obsession. And then we have to let it out some way.
So here's a question for you then, is that at what point, Jeff, this is both for you and Josh, but in this moment, because you're 2 days from the book release, if I understand the date and all, the 15th.
Yeah.
At what point are you able to receive at the heart space that you have succeeded in this project? Is it how many books get sold, or is it just holding a book and honoring the actual publication of the book, regardless of how many sales? And if the sales don't reach a certain number, do you then receive that and take that personally? Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I do, but I've never done this before. So that's another part of this, which ties into the show that we're doing. I have never done this before. I've written a book, but I just put the book out there. I wasn't doing any promo, but this is big. This was a major publisher, and it's a big deal, and a lot of people know about it. I did a television show on Monday. People are hitting me with emails and all of this stuff. Success is in our heart. Success is our fulfillment.
That's why I asked you the question.
Yeah, success is not an outer thing. It's a fulfillment. When I look at this, I still feel it's surreal because it's all new. So it's a new process. So when we go into something that's new and it's unknown, our stuff comes up. And last week, my stuff came up major league. And I'm telling you, the anxiety that came up at the end of last week was unbearable for me, because this is all brand new for me. And then I'm trying to, do what I normally do. And then I've got this wonderful project and that's happening. It's the unknown right now that I am dealing with. And it's only been, I think it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow, and I mean, Saturday, but that's what it is. And we have to find a way of funneling those feelings into something, which is what Ev was talking about, funneling those feelings into something that isn't detrimental, that is more progressive. I go to the detrimental side, and that's where I went last week.
Ev, I want to invite you to share from your perspective. What have you heard between this volley back and forth between Jay Ritty and JF?
Well, the brother, if you just listen to that and go back and listen to that, Jeff, because what you said right at the end there, my brother, from my observation, was the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those very big inner standings that we all need to have here, brothers and sisters, when we want to try and manifest anything into real time or this physical reality, that last step that I teach people in the manifestation process is cut the cord to the outcome, or let go and trust the universe or the process to take care of the rest. Mm-hmm. So like I mentioned earlier, when we're trying to create anything, make it, whether it's through faking it, whatever way you want to call it, those thoughts, the second thing, which obviously Jeff was mentioning last week as well, those beliefs, okay, getting rid of those self-doubt programs, all of those other programs that caused you any limiting beliefs within your life. And then the act comes in every time, brothers and sisters, because it is the action. It is the action that allows you to implement and create the new thing, life, body, whatever it may be. But without that action, it'll just be an idea. It'll just be a thought. And it stays up in your head. And then that causes the anxiety. We tell the story. It causes the depression. We regret because we didn't do it. Mm. So when we create this act within our life, whether we're creating the book like our brother, whether we're creating, something else outside of those scapes, we start to adopt the new mindset, which allows us to create the new actions. The new behaviors start to come in, the new habits. And this is why it's really important to really have the power of the mind, because it's not the other way around. From a lot of people that I've helped on their journey, particularly in this manifestation scene, as you may know it, it's not really about creating, whether it was like the new body, get the body into shape, and then you'll have the healthy mindset, positive mindset. It's the other way around, brothers and sisters. The strong mind, it's the strong body. The strong body allows you to create and implement the new actions and behaviors. And then we go into the aspect, which we go a little bit deeper, into being able to balance the masculine and the feminine energies within each and all of us. It's deep, brother. What was that, Jeff?
That was amazing, Ev. And I've got one more life hack to add to that. What's always worked for me is changing it in your mind, because we all have those fears. We can't escape them, and we all have the stories from our past and from our wherever we were handed. They exist in us, and then those high achievers in life still have them too. It's all about what we do with it, right? And so something that I've figured out in me that works really well is to, when trying something new where I have those doubts on, I can't do this, I'm maybe not good at this, or I'm maybe not smart enough to do this, or I'm maybe not capable or worthy. I treat it as, I reframe it into an experiment. So I'm just going to move forward and see what happens. And that takes away that pass fail. That takes away that, I have those fears too. And like, I'm afraid that if I fail at this, it's just proof that I can't do it one more time, or it's just proof that I'm not smart enough. Or, so an experiment though, however, I mean, hey, you run an experiment, it fails, you still live, you move on, and whatever. It's not a judgment call on me, right? It's just like, hey, I'm going to try this, and just my work. So a hack that I use in me is to reframe it. New things that I want to try is I'm just going to try it out, see what happens.
One of the things that a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, has been kind of coaching me on this. He's 75 years old. And I'm one of the things that came up, what happens is all of like the anxiety, all of that is trying to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
That's my MO. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to control it all, and I'm getting bombarded by different people. You should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you got to go here, you got to go. And it's all well-intentioned. And what his guidance is, and it's wonderful guidance in the life, he goes, allow this project to take a life of its own and follow the path. And I have decided, once again, because everything's a choice, I have decided to do that. Beautiful. Show up, in life, just like, you know, we all build our careers like I did. Where do I need to be to do what I want to do? Who do I need to meet, universe, to do what I want to do? And that's pretty much what I've decided to do in the last day or two. Was like, you know what? And this is about, once again, going back to the title of this show, faking it to make it. Where I was last week is I was trying to control everything. And then when all the feelings came up and the emotions came up, I was trying to control that to not feel all of this anxiety or whatever. Am I not good enough? And everything that was coming up inside of me. So I try to control it. So I go and do something that I think I can control that ultimately is detrimental to me. And that's what I did. So I've been with that the last couple of days. And what has really helped me is going back into my mindful self-compassion work that I've been doing. And what I said at the beginning of the show, what came to me this morning in my meditations with that work was, oh, wait a second. Yes, the anxiety came up, the obsession came up. I did what I did. You know what? If I am aware and conscious of it, and that is still part of my process, I can move through a deeper level of self-care if I just accept all of that and say, wait, I'm still in my process. Just like Josh said at the beginning of the show, or, you know, we're all still learning, whether you're 65, 45, 25, or 85. Mm-hmm. And just to be with that and allow myself to say, okay, I'm still in my process. Put my hand over my heart. This is still part of my process. I'm still learning. That is being honest with ourselves. And then we can go, okay, Jay Rothman, I need to do a hike and heal. This is what's going on in my life. How can you help me?
Beautiful.
I want to switch gears right here and bring it from, let's say, our career perspective to personal relationships. How many times have you found yourself in a relationship with an individual, an intimate relationship where there's a part of you that, again, had that inner chatter where if they only knew how you felt about yourself, they'd want out, or something to that effect. And part of the strategy, perhaps, that a lot of the ego creates is to wall off. Because especially as men, if you grew up in a home where you were taught real boys don't cry, or, you know, how to be that masculine dude, and overcorrecting, leaning more into your masculine energy than your feminine divine energy, isn't that to an extent faking it as well? Because that's not truly the essence of who you are. How many times have you been in a relationship where you didn't feel comfortable being your true self because you're afraid of judgment? Is not a whole lot of difference there, is it? In some level, if we're not being our true authentic self, feeling safe to show both our feminine and masculine energy within.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's so uncommon. Do you, Josh?
You called it right there too. It takes that safety, you know, and we haven't been taught healthy relationships either, or maybe given a lot of examples in our lives. To recognize in the other person too, when and where to create safety for them so they can open up. It's a tough, and especially when entering into a new relationship, of course we want to show our best side and hide those parts of ourselves that maybe in past relationships were met with judgment, or were met with a less than loving response. And it's funny, those tend to be the things we show last, right? As you get deeper and deeper into a new relationship with someone, intimate relationship, we hold those cards till the very, very end and then go, oh yeah, if you love me now, here's and this and this and what about this? Yeah, it's terrifying. But it all in 148 episodes, it always comes down to self-love, right? When we are able to truly love ourselves, it doesn't matter. And I know Jeff will speak to this more eloquently than I can. Yeah, when we are setting our own boundaries, when we are loving ourselves, when we are filling up our cup, when we are protecting that inner child that's afraid, that child's always going to be afraid that they're not lovable or loved. And it's our job, not our partners, to show up for that child and to create that safety. And that's when he or she feels okay to come out and play.
Yeah, I brought this question in the play tonight. All pun intended, Josh, because I just witnessed holding space for an amazing couple. They've been together a long time, but like most of us, they carried their younger traumas and wounds from the childhood into this relationship that spanned a couple of decades plus. And through the work that we did together, it was so beautiful to witness, to see this adult man for the first time open his heart and to be able to hold space as the tears flowed with his partner. And he felt so safe. And he realized that the egoic mind that was doing everything to protect him from being judged or being criticized or being ridiculed, because that's what he received as a child growing up from his own father. He was missing out on the greatest gift of his life and his relationship with his partner, which is the true essence of feeling connected at the heart, at the soul. And it's just so beautiful when we finally feel free. Finally feel free without fear of judgment. That we don't have to fake it, even in a 20 or a 30-year marriage. How many women are married to men and you hear the same thing, they complain, my husband is not available. He's emotionally detached. He's walled off. He lives in isolation. He knows how to show up as the man, but my understanding, my experiences is that there's a time and a place. There's also a time when there's nothing greater than the true essence of intimacy is feeling safe just to be your vulnerable self. It's time for us to stop faking it in our relationships. And if we are in a relationship with someone that's not comfortable with us truly being the essence of who we are, or tapping into the true essence of who we were born as, then maybe we shouldn't be in that relationship. Maybe we say, no, thank you. Freedom is an inside job. We think we're fighting for freedom outside of ourselves. We have wars over freedom. Yet the most important freedom that needs to take place is the freedom within. What do you make of that, Evis Love?
There's the show. The freedom is within. There's no doubt about it, my brother. Beautifully said. You know, it's the powerful, the principle of least resistance. But, when you're talking about that side in relationships, it totally becomes easily to understand where the faking it till you make it can become a little bit of a challenge or a problem within the collective. And it's probably why you're seeing so many relationships at the moment go separate, directions. But why that we fall into a lot of those traps, like you're mentioning, at the real root of all of that, as we always come back to, is really the attachment of the emotions. So that emotional connection or attachment, I should say, thinking that you've emotionally attached to create certain outcomes within a relationship, or whether it's in your career, whatever it may be, you've got to really start to do the inner work like we always talk about as well. Because otherwise, those things that are imprinted within that subconscious may be still harboring so many limiting beliefs that are going to influence you on a positive or on a so-called negative scale. So you've really got to get down to the emotions that are attaching these things within your life that are maybe causing these particular circumstances. And when we can pull ourselves away and detach from those emotions that are maybe causing some of these griefs within these relationships, then we can really start manifesting that desired relationship we want to be in, or that person we want to be with. Because really, at the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, we're not getting what we want. We're getting who we are. So when we understand that on an inner level, on a vibrational and a frequency level, then we understand this power, like I mentioned at the start of the show, on an energy basis.
Well,
Take a breath, Josh, Richard. What are you feeling? What's coming forward? What'd you just hear?
we're not getting what we want. We're getting who we are. That's awesome, Ev. Wow.
And then when we get who we are, we get what we need.
So I presume we're saying is what we need is it's from within ourselves. We're always chasing it, seeking it outside of ourselves. That's a nice bonus to get an add-on, right? I mean, mousse is delicious, but you add a little whipped cream on top, and that's the add-on. We're always chasing the whipped cream.
Well, and that I've also heard of somebody say that the level at which we feel we're in control in our life is how happy we are. So when we feel out of control, so imagine if you're looking for it outside of yourself, you don't have control. You're not going to be happy. You will never find the happiness out there because it's not possible. You can't control that. And what we're talking about tonight is taking back your control, your power within, and happiness will follow. Because we're generating it from within. We don't need anything, anyone outside of ourselves. It's right here. Beautiful, you guys.
Yes, I do have a question for you. I'm going to put you in a hot seat right now. Why not? I came in hot off the trails tonight. It's an absolutely beautiful afternoon in the sacred Sedona Red Rocks. You're in a relatively new relationship. That I sense is very different than past relationships.
Very is probably not a strong enough word.
From your perspective, what's made this relationship different than all the others from your past, if I may ask, in relationship to yourself? How are you showing up differently? Because there's got to be something different happening, that the relationship appears to have a different level of consciousness within.
We both expressed to each other early on how much we enjoyed each other's company and saw each other in our lives forever. However, we both said we'll be okay if we lost the other one. And that's the difference. And it's not morbid. And we both understood what we meant in that moment of expressing that to each other was that I'll be fine. Things will be okay. It would sure be hell losing my best friend in my life. But I'm okay. And having that level of trust and peace within ourselves is the game changer. Because then, like Ev says, we're not attached. We're not compromising ourselves for fear of losing something. We're not holding back or faking for fear of rejection or loss or not being loved. We're able to just genuinely be ourselves, and any outcome that comes after that, good, bad, indifferent, it's all okay.
Isn't there
the
a level
freedom?
Isn't there a level of inner freedom and peace in that?
I was just gonna say the freedom to be myself. It's the best feeling on earth.
Boom.
And if I'm not loved for that, then that's not my person.
There you go. So what I just heard you say, I'm going to paraphrase you, is there's a level of trust in that. And the last part you said, if I'm not enough, then it's not the right person. Meaning that you're going to show up as your best version of yourself, your true authentic version of yourself, without any falsehoods about who you are. And if that's not enough, then you are at peace knowing that it's not about you then. That's about the other individual. That's their stuff that they haven't worked through. Perhaps it's their wounding. That's their shadows. What do you make of that, Ev?
100%, brother. 100%. And that's what I mean. You know, we are not attracting in what necessarily we want. It is truly who we are. So if we are attracting that shadow within someone else, we've got to look at our own. So it takes that deep inner work, which we talk about show after show after show, brothers and sisters. But being able to manifest, whether it is that relationship or that dream career, whatever it is within your life, it's like Jeff mentioned earlier, it's a process. You know, you may have to really become and act like a different person. Because if that brain of yours is only being programmed with a particular person, I know even in my own journey, in the early days, particularly as a youngster, we were what you may call more underprivileged than, you know, a lot of families. And I was given a lot of hand-me-downs. I don't know if you know that term over there on the other side of the pond.
Oh, yeah.
But hand-me-downs were other people's clothes to wear. So it took a lot of work, even into my earlier, I would say, teenage years, to actually know that I was worthy to wear my own. So it's a beautiful metaphor for what Josh always says. We may have to try on a new shirt. See what it feels like to wear your own. Who's around you when you're trying on that shirt? You know, it may have to be a little bit of an act as if before you actually start manifesting that desired outcome. But until we really, like I just mentioned there, get into those inner, deep, limiting beliefs, then we'll keep being that same person, brothers and sisters. So, yeah, man, it's a deep part of the process, that's for sure.
Beautiful. I'm gonna piggyback, and this will be my last thought. Was as you dive into those deep stories, beliefs, those old tapes, start to question them. Curiosity is a powerful. I know that thing is an old rock and it's really hard to bust open, but curiosity is this amazing jackhammer that, with a few questions, what's under that? Well, what's under that? Well, where did this come from? Is this even mine? Wait, hold on. Is this even my grandfather's? Is this society's? Is this why am I carrying? Hold on. This isn't mine at all. I thought this was mine this whole time. Curiosity, as you start to dig and asking what's underneath, is a beautiful breadcrumb to finding truth.
Beautiful, brother.
And when you have that awareness of asking those questions and you're in that moment of curiosity, there's a really good chance that it's not you showing up as that 44-year-old. And most likely it's little Joshy showing up as that 4-year-old. And that's
he's the one who needs to see the truth.
He's the one who's most curious. And what a beautiful relationship to have with him. Give him permission to be curious. But give him. The other day, I said something to Mary, my beautiful partner, and I asked her a couple of whys, and she said, "You sound like a little boy right now. Why? And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that today." We need to show more curiosity as adults. We need to learn how to play more, how to be more playful. That's the true essence of coming home. So don't ever stop being curious. And I'll tell you, I'm going to bring this back to you, Jeff, as we wrap up tonight's show, coming up into 3 minutes to the hour. I saw one of the images of you holding your book. You were cuddling it. You were hugging it. What's in those pages is it's such a part of your life. It's not who you are, but there's so much that you invested, your own heart and soul. You doing the work you do is not. I've never read you as coming from the ego space in the work you do. You've always, from the day I met you, have always done your work from your heart. At least that's my impression. And I just want to invite you to let that little boy Jeffrey, whatever your nickname was or whatever it is today, let him enjoy this moment with you. We don't have to always be so damn serious. And I'm speaking as one of those serious kind of guys. Allow him to look at the book. Allow him to ask the questions. Allow him to thumb through it. Allow that little boy within to hold it. And then you hold him and your book together. This is a huge part of your journey. This is not just a bunch of pictures. There's so much depth. There's so much soul within this book of art that you have captured. You've earned it. That little boy within has earned it. He's been waiting so long to be acknowledged. And here you are as his father of self. Hold him as you hold that book. And don't ever let it go.
I got to sell it.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do it.
That was me playing, Jay.
Okay. I thought I heard that was your father coming through right there.
No.
We should ask you too, Jeff. Where can our viewers purchase the book, my friend?
Well, on my website, jeffasano.com. But before I get there, that's where you can get it. Just go to jeffasano.com. You can purchase the book there. It comes out officially on Saturday. into the world. It'll be at bookstores, Amazon. You can go to Amazon if you want to. Amazon's got it, and you can get you can get it on Saturday at Amazon. But I've learned a lot tonight, guys. As I'm listening to you guys, one of the things, what's happening for me in my life right now, and this goes with the title of this show, I am being thrust out of some comfort zones with this project. I don't call it a book because it's a project. And it's bringing me up another level in this world, visibly, and which is what I want, not from the ego space. I want the world, a greater part of this world to see what I do and hear my story, and then hear the story about the Americana genre and all that stuff, because my story is a big part of this. So what went on with me last week was the anxiety that was happening is I'm being thrust out of my comfort zone of, I've done a lot of wonderful work and it's been great, and I've met a lot of great people and I've shot a lot of fantastic people, but I'm very comfortable in that world. I'm not going to use the word small, but I was very comfortable in that world. All of a sudden, I undertake this project, which began in 2019, and now it's coming to fruition, and more people are starting to see me. And my ego wants to hold on to that comfort of the way it was before this. Even so, what I say I want, because we all say we have something we say we want. Yes, I want, it's not about selling books. This is about bringing my art, my feelings, and me to another level up the ladder in life, opening new doorways. And it gets frightening. What happened to me last week is that I could very easily duck back under the covers and say, I don't want to do this. And listening to you guys tonight, and what I'm realizing is that I'm being thrust out of these comfort zones, and I'm holding on for dear life, being thrust out of them because new doorways are opening, and I'm moving just to another place in my soul plan. Another doorways are opening. It's called ascension. We can stay in these comfort zones, and we can stay in this place, but we have to ascend in this lifetime, in our lives, whatever that means, by opening up our heart space, by opening up our heart space in a relationship with someone, by, that gentleman did with Jay today. He's ascending within himself by opening our heart space, but we also ascend in life. It's going up that ladder. And I'm beginning to do that right now after just having books for now 2 weeks and seeing this, and then people acknowledging it. I was scared friggin' shitless last week. That's when the anxiety kicked in, because I'm being thrust out of my nice comfort zones at this nice hovering level. But all I've always, wanted to say in my life was to, bring it out into the world a little more on another level, a broader level, to a greater level.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I'm scared shitless of moving out of that comfort zone. So my old beliefs kicked in, my old story kicked in, my old habits, patterns, rituals, and behaviors kicked in to friggin' the ego to sabotage it. I just learned that right now on this show tonight.
Jeff Fasano, welcome home, brother. Welcome home.
Beautiful, brother.
I got chills, so I know there's truth in that. Ev, You got 1 minute. You want to say anything? You want to close this out and put a pretty bow on the show?
I think our brother just did.
All right.
Yeah, man. That's a beautiful way to end it.
I'm going to invite you guys to help me close the show out tonight. I want to take a moment here to thank our viewers for joining us this evening. If you like what you heard, please share out our link to your friends and family. We appreciate you supporting our show. That's why we keep coming back week after week. And with that, I love you guys. Viewers, thank you. Peace and blessings. We'll see you next time on Real Men.
Real men.
Real
Talk.
Talk.
Ah!